Hello, welcome to another episode of the Infinite Podcast. What a week, what a day, what a year, what a decade, what a century. How's everyone doing? G'day, chat. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for supporting us and waiting. We are late again, and that's just a standard thing. Damarco, welcome to the show. DeMarco from the
Hello!
Renegade Realms podcast and of his own channel. How you doing? What's going on?
It's a crossover. Everyone's crossing over. Then we just got to get Red on, and then we get Assassin on, and then we just make this the Renegade Realm podcast next.
How's things? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Well, I've been holding on to Expedition 33 for a time I could continue record because I was doing a playthrough of that. But honestly, that's what really sunk its teeth into me. I know that we're going to be probably chatting about it because it's really, really, really good. Yeah. And it's incredible. It's absolutely bewildering to me that game is $50. But Expedition 33, a little bit of Oblivion remastered. I actually did something really strange, which was starting the Black Ops 6 campaign, which I never have done. But
oh, wow, okay.
It's still early, but it's
so
interesting.
It's like a Michael Bay movie. It's so good.
I don't know. Yeah. There's 6 Black Ops titles, and I don't know. I'm like, okay, Woods and Langley and this guy and that guy and Adler did this thing, and he did it in which Call of Duty, but there's a time jump between this one and that, and I just go, I can't. My old man brain can't handle all of this. There's too much, but I still enjoy what I've seen so far. So that's cool.
Yeah, it is. It is very Michael Bay. Yeah, I love my Call of Duties, man. Yeah, I think I skipped the space one, and the
good.
Cold War one,
Infinite Warfare.
Yeah, but I went back.
That's Warfare
on.
Good.
There was a rumor it was going to be on Game Pass, but it never materialized. So, I mean, it should be. Everything should be on Game Pass that Microsoft owns. Microsoft, if you're listening, there's no excuses at this point. Holly, how's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things? We've been playing.
Good. It's been a busy week. I started Oblivion last Sunday. I have a beautiful, lovely lady named 2D Fruity as my character. She is the apple of every man's eye. And what else? I mean, I played Schedule 1 this week. DeMarco played Schedule 1 this week too.
We played some Schedule 1.
I believe that's the top Steam rated game, or
yeah, it's doing really well. We just played the demo. And then I
see the appeal to it though.
Yeah. It's very, you can see how a game about drug dealing is very addictive. Literally. And then I have been playing so much Expedition 33, and I finished Avowed last week. Like, totally finished it.
Oh, what'd you think of that? What'd you think of the finish? And what happened at your finish?
I was to say, aren't there multiple endings?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So what happened with yours?
Yeah. Is it okay to say on here yet?
I think if you haven't finished Avowed by now, then that's your own fault. DeMarco, block your ears.
I chose because you get like 3 choices right at the end, like to kind of like. So I chose to make them. What did I do? I chose for them to become independent and become a continent of their own. Like all of them join together and become.
Oh, spoilers! I didn't even beat the game. What's going on? Oh, I'm joking.
Block your ears. Yeah.
You can blame Riskit. So I thought that was a good ending. I think that's a good ending. I set her free.
Okay. Yeah, I merged and it was a little bit sinister. And I chose the content to be free, but I also became somebody's revenant. I became a dead bitch basically as well. So there was a couple of choices. I would have liked. I know. I felt like when the game, I really loved the game. Like, and I felt like when it finished, I know I was a bit deflated. I don't know. I still haven't decided if that was because of the ending or if it was just because I had finished playing it and I'm like, oh, like it's sort of over.
Can I say a dumb thing? I'm going to anyway. Sometimes the conversations that you would like fall asleep and there'd be a dream and
Yeah.
the rock would be talking to you and you wouldn't at first you didn't know what it was or who it was and all that stuff. Like after you know who it is and you get to like hear like a little more content, a little more actual story, I was still like, what the hell is this rock on about? Like I didn't like I was like, it's a
Yeah.
little too ethereal for me to quite get like Wodica, the God of War, basically, right? Like the one that was like trying to stop you all the time.
Wodica. Yeah.
Wodica. I get it. They didn't like Summonamana, whatever the name was. I don't remember. The
Sully.
Summonamana.
My
But
favorite antagonist.
yes, Summonamana. Patented. If you want to use that name, call me. So, but I just kind of was like, can we talk just a little more plain about what's going on? Because I understand that something happened that made Wodica not like Summona, like with a different other god. But I got a little
Humana.
Suppadal. Thank you.
I was just about to ask, what is Summona? I didn't know what was going on.
It's Humana.
I see. I thought you were talking about something else. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I really, really liked it, but I do agree with you. Like by the end, I was kind of like, okay, like the story was like, all right, I did okay. Like I released her,
it was
and
okay.
It was anticlimactic, and I was just like, all right.
Yeah. Like like I think I feel like you need a DLC and they pick one of the endings and you go down that route and then they have another bite of the cherry because again, like I'm not sure if it was because I was a little bit deflated that I finished the game because I'm like, oh, I really like this game, and then also the ending wasn't like, didn't blow my mind in any way, shape, or form, and I was like, it's like this happened, then this happened, and then this happened, It's like,
they did a lot of those like wrap up stills, right, where they're of the characters talking or doing something and then telling you the story over top of it, and it was like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's very much how I sort of felt. So shout out to Bobby Hawk. It was
fun.
triggered. Yeah. It was great. It's great game. I think 8 is about right. I sort of landed on 8. I think it's 8. Like I think it could have been a bit more, and I still think it can be a bit more. But love the game. Umbra, we haven't even got to your intro. How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? We had a good conversation while I was in Bali, within Kay Asante's gaming podcast Discord. But Umbra, how you doing?
Oh man. Will you go, lassie, go? Did anybody else see Sinners?
Yes.
No. Nope.
It was super good.
Man, listen, I almost want to have a spoiler discussion, like podcast for that. Man, I loved it. Seen it twice. Checked it out with family and things like that and friends. So I've checked that out. I've been playing Expedition 33 about 15 hours in, though. I'm going to be honest. I think some of that was me dozing off. And being in Discord.
So he's played about 3 hours of it.
Probably about 3 hours, something like that. Anyway.
Wait, that means you would have fallen asleep after the Gomage. How do you fall asleep after the Gomage?
Never undervalue the power of sleep. It happens. It's probably have about actually 7 hours of actual game time, I think. and I think I think if you just boot the game up and it's on the start screen, it still loads up time. So that's what it must be. Because I'm like, I couldn't have been in a game like that. So, but yeah, enjoying that. And so I haven't really had a chance to get too much into anything else. I feel like since we've had this game overload of things to play, it kind of pushed me off of gaming, oddly enough. Like my brain couldn't figure out what it wanted to play. And because I was on Oblivion, enjoying that, then it's like, oh, Expedition. And it's like, okay, what do I do? So
And
I
Assassin's
haven't
Creed.
really,
You've forgotten about
and then
that.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, still haven't played through that yet. I have probably 100 more hours to go through that. So yeah, all those different things. But as far as Expedition 33, I have been in that and I'm enjoying it. Beautiful world, of course, unreal, But yeah, that's really it for me for the week.
Unreal. Yeah. I went to Bali, so that's why we didn't have a show last week. I was in Bali, which I had a great time, but my 3-year-old got strep throat, and like ended up in delirium, and we had to get like a Balinese doctor. It's weird having a barefoot doctor, like, and his nurse with a suitcase full of like drugs come to your hotel room. And then they were shaking this like weird witch doctor thing over. They weren't doing that at all. And then my daughter, who's only barely 18 months, fell out of bed and cracked her head on some tiles. So it was an interest. Aside from that, and my mother-in-law was there. It wasn't a holiday at all. It was like a nightmare. The whole thing. No, it was good. It was good. It wasn't bad. The problem that I had is Expedition 33 launched literally, I think, the second day that I was there. And when I got to the hotel, all they had was a 720p TV. And this TV, I had 2 TVs, right? So and it booted up, and it's like, crazy, like these old 90s TVs where the color palette like makes the Xbox screen look like horrible baby poo green, and it just wasn't right. So that launched, Oblivion launched, and I'm like, all right, well, I got to download Oblivion. That took 2 days because it was downloading at like 7 megabits per second. And it's like, keep it on, just downloading. And I booted it up. I'm like, well, I can see that this would be beautiful.
As you're looking at everything in distorted colors and poo green.
Yeah,
this is beautiful.
it could be good. It could be good. I don't know. But I can see where the look is going to look good. And then I was like, oh, Expedition 33 is supposed to be a beautiful game. I don't think it's that good looking, actually. And it probably would have suited that TV better. So I downloaded that. That took 2 days. Then I was like, well, I'm not going to play Expedition 33 on this TV. I'm just not going to do that. So I messed around with a lot of Assassin's Creed, just doing side missions and doing that sort of stuff. And then since I've been back, I've managed to get a little bit of time in. And then last night I wanted to cap some footage. And I think I was about 2 hours in when I started, like in game time. I was about 2.5 hours. I was already loving it. And I don't like that type of like flashy Final Fantasy shit all over the screen. Like I don't like the stylings normally, and this does look like a bit of a watercolor painting. So it's got the watercolor thing with the whole like Japanese combination. So I was a little bit like I'm torn if whether I like the visuals or not. I do. I've decided I do because I'm into one of the second areas and you will see in the footage when we bring it up. But yeah, I was up till 1 a.m. last night because I lost track of time just playing that game, and I'm like, oh shit, it's 1 a.m. I need to go to bed. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. We definitely got to get into that, and obviously the thumbnail. There was a lot of controversy around it being on Game Pass. Crazily, why? I don't know. But yeah, I had a hell of a week. It's been a hell of a couple of weeks. It's great to be back. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Marco. We may or may not have Doc Dark drop in later on if he's got time. And Donte, I believe, is also on holiday. So whether he makes it in or not, I'm not 100% sure. But he's on holiday. So
he's living the good
life.
life.
On vacation.
Yep.
He's living the life. Hopefully he doesn't drop a baby out of bed and get sick. Because that's the kind of thing that could ruin your holiday. So let's move on with the show. So I guess we're going to talk. Let's do the negative, because I know there's a lot of positive I want to talk about with Expedition 33, but two other things happen quite recently. So let's talk about the bad, shall we? So yesterday, or I don't know if that was your last night, Microsoft announced that they would be raising the price of not only their console, but nearly all of their peripherals except for the headset, which is a fantastic deal, by the way. And a lot of people rave about that headset for the price. So I'll run through the pricing. I'm going to do this in the US. I've also got the EU and the pound, the UK. But I'll just do it in the Aussie, but I'll do it in the US. The Xbox Series S was $299, is now $379. That is fucking huge. That's the Xbox Series S 512 gigabyte. The Xbox Series S 1 terabyte is $349, is now $429. That is just insanity. The Series X Digital, which I forgot even existed, because why would you? But anyway, the Xbox Series X Digital $449, now $549. The Xbox Series X $499 with disk drive, $599. The 2 terabyte Galaxy, this is the crazy one, was $599.99, is now $729.99. That is absolutely king insane. And I'll just skip all the controllers and I'll go straight down to the Elite. The Elite was $149.99. And it is now $149.99. Fuck yeah. Why I'm happy about that is because there is a rumor that they're working on there's been a rumor for years. How long are we going to talk about it Big Mad Mo says, how long are we going to talk about it? Talk about it. As long as it's not for a year, we good, because we know it was only talked about for an hour when PlayStation prices went up. That's kind of going to be part of my point here as well. So this is the thing, and I sort of noticed this with Destin. Like, I have no ill will towards Destin, and I don't think that he's like biased, but I did find this to be a weird thing, and he is an Xbox supporting guy. Recently, PlayStation last month raised their prices, and that was in Europe, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. So everywhere basically, and also in the Southeast Asian countries. So everywhere except the US, which I think was a smart move on their part, because everyone just went, meh. Most of the Americans went, meh, doesn't affect me, don't care, right? But they led the way with this price rise. And I noticed that Destin didn't have a whole lot to say about that. He didn't have a whole lot to say about the $80 games from Nintendo, but he posted like 3 times about this Xbox taking the piss, Xbox Series price rises. So pretty crazy. I think it's, again, I'm always going to be straight up. I think this is a stupid move from Xbox. Like, you... and everyone in the chat's either going to leave or have something to say. So get at me. But like, if you are sitting in the place that you're sitting with your consoles, which is in third place, and then you feel that you need to raise the price, I don't understand what's behind this. Like, take the loss on this generation, make it up on the back end of the next generation. Actually offer us something and go, look, this console is $1,000, and this is why. You can't do that with the Series X. You launched it at I think it was $599, right? Originally, or lower than that, wasn't it? It was $499.99. Yeah, it's $499.99. So you launched it at $499.99, and it's now sitting at $729.99. You've added aside from the games, right? You've added absolutely no value to the console itself.
No, $499 is now $579. That $729 that launched at 600.
600. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, $499. Now it's $599.
And that one just launched like what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Galaxy one. Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it cheaper than $499? Because we've had a price rise in between, right?
No.
No?
Not in the US.
Okay. So you guys.
Not in the US.
guys managed to get through this whole thing without? Well, that might be the reason for the price rise. We had a price rise in between, so we've had two. You got one. Yeah, I think stupid move. I think I don't understand. Like, yeah, everyone wants to talk about tariffs. I feel like that's a fucking excuse.
That is
tariffs.
They wanted to
Tariffs.
raise prices on these things. That's not.
In, right? But I want to say the controller thing. You ignored one part of the controller. You mentioned the Elite. That's for the core. The core stayed the same, but the full package of it actually did go up. You mentioned, yeah. So
I see that. Yep.
179 to 199.99.
Yeah. Fuckers. That's true. That is true. I try to keep it positive, Umbra. Jeez.
Is there any positive in here?
I don't think. Yeah, you can't keep this positive when Microsoft just says, "Hey, all of our consumers."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, look, and just to the tariff thing, I don't. And my view on the tariffs is like, we don't know yet. You know what I mean? Like, it did some damage to the stock market and stuff and all that. Like, I get it, but like, realistically, the results, the knock-on effects, you really don't know what's going to happen. There's the hope from one side that this is going to happen, and there's the fear from this side that this is going to happen. I mean, really, realistically, anyone who's out there politically going, tariffs are going to do this, you don't fucking know because you've never been done on this scale. So you can make an educated guess if you're an economist, but I think none of us are economists. So for me, it's like, it's caused some damage. It hasn't been good for Australia. It's caused some knock-on effects in Australia whereby we are now really vulnerable to China, which is not a good spot for us to be in. So and it's election day. I know you guys haven't just seen anything else but election day all over Twitter. So like, I completely apologize that our elections just took over the social media space and fucked up your life for like, oh, hang on a minute. That was the American elections. My bad.
Did y'all have anything there?
I was like, wait, what?
If a bear takes a crap in the woods and nobody knows, did it take a crap in the woods? I didn't know about it.
Exactly.
No,
exactly. Like no one knows. No one gives a shit. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh shit. Like I got a notification saying it's election day because we are forced to vote. Like if you don't vote, you get fined. So every single person in the country has to vote, which I think is a good system. Or is it a bad system? That's a totally different conversation for a totally different day. Back to tariffs. This, I just doesn't have $100 effect on a console. Like absolutely not. And I think that all these companies are using it as an excuse to just boost prices, in my personal opinion. And I don't understand the ethos behind it. And I think it's just a stupid move.
I disagree.
What's that?
I think this is directly correlated to the tariffs. And I shout out to Daniel Ahmad, aka Juge Leon. By the way, I think Rand says his name like Hugh or something. I forget how he says it. I'm like, why are you saying it like that?
Jorge.
Yeah, Jorge, he's Leon. He's Mexican and Chinese. But yeah, like there's 145% tariff tax on China. And the manufacturing for the console comes directly from China. So absolutely it factors in. It has taken place now. China. But so yeah, that's literally what it is. Now I won't discount that a lot of these people are scapegoating it. I think Nintendo scapegoated it initially. I don't know why they didn't claim it. Actually, they were like, no, this didn't have anything to do with the terrorists. Bowser said. I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. But it didn't matter because Nintendo drones are not going to complain. They're like, yes, charge us for the $10 tutorial. So it doesn't matter for Nintendo fans, apparently, I guess. But yeah, for the Xbox for sure, this tariff actually definitely affected it. Somebody did the math. We were in the Discord earlier talking about it, and they broke it down from the math of it. And this is definitely what it added up to versus the price of the Xbox plus the tariff tax. So I would think that I'd lean to that being the truth. I don't know. I won't say for a factor that is the case, but it seems to be. All signs seems to point to yes, that it is a factor or is the factor. That said, you didn't actually call on me to go first. I kind of just jumped in. I don't know if you wanted to go to Damarco or somebody first, but
that is good.
Yeah.
But you can't really bring the manufacturing of an Xbox back to America either, because Americans' fingers are just too damn big.
Don't I know it? Yeah. Story of
I
my
don't know.
life.
You guys had an ad like back in the day. I think it was like TIAC or something. It was in the like 90s, and it was a whole bunch of Chinese guys putting together some TV or something, and then the end of it was like, because Americans' fingers are just too damn big. I was like, that's one hell of an ad. I miss 80s and 90s advertising. It's just they just say some shit, and you'd be like, what the yeah. Look, I just did the math, and it's a very brief, rough math. It's not. It's quick math. So it doesn't quite equate to it. I don't know, man. I just feel like they should absorb the cost. Like, you're not in a position to be charging people an extra $100.
The way I look at it is
Damarco?
twofold. I look at it twofold.
I know
when
you
it comes
go.
to that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I look at it twofold when it comes to that. It definitely seems like rake stepping, but at the same time, I reason out like this: the console sales aren't going up for Xbox. Them doing this at the tail end of the generation, it doesn't really hurt them. Maybe future sales they would get, but it wouldn't amount to much. They're not going to get too many more sales at the tail end of this generation. And when the time the holiday rolls around, they'll likely put a sale on it and take it back down a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I just don't see how this is negative for them with the consoles, at least for console sales, because I don't think that's their big motive right now. They want Game Pass subs. That's the thing they're after.
I thought we're going PC.
Yeah, PC would be the way to go for sure. But that said, too, the problem is the game hike price, the price of the games. That's the problem. And I complained about Nintendo with the $80 hike, and now Microsoft follows suit. I know I can't put this squarely on Nintendo, and I did do that on Twitter just to mess with people, and they were like, dude, this is not about Nintendo. They were mad at me. But yeah,
Sure
I
is.
mean, I think they influence it. I mean, but I know Microsoft likely had this plan. I think all of them have it planned. And like you said, they're going to scapegoat things to raise the prices anyway. They've wanted to do this for a long time. Microsoft, to their credit, has held off on crazy pricing and such for a long time, to their credit. But when you kept hearing rumors of, $100 for GTA, to me, it was only a matter of time before they tried to go this route anyway. I cannot for 1 second vouch for the idea of an $80 game, or see why Nintendo needs to charge that for Mario Kart World. I still don't understand that. I see nothing production wise
But
or
you
whatever.
can go off the track this time.
That is true. That is
$20 more.
That is a valid reason, yes. But like I look at that, and I look at Forza. We were having this discussion on the Discord as well, and it's like, okay, yeah, look at Forza. Forza probably costs around $60 million by estimates, right? And that right there is a $60 game or $50 game now. I think it went to PlayStation's $50 launch. So it's tough for me to know all that's included with Forza, and it's at the budget it was costing to make it, and then look at Mario Kart World, and it's based off the strength of Nintendo's name and Mario's name that it's $80. It's like, huh? That said, being the pay pig I am, I did get the bundle. Shout out to my brother K Asante. So I didn't pay $80 for it, $50, but yeah, that's my thinking on it.
I'm going to get the Nintendo, and look, I'm probably going to pay for the first $80 game too, because the first $80 game won't be like the worst game that comes out. You know what I mean? It'll be a game with hype, so it'll probably be Fable, and I'll be like, damn. I was saying in the Discord last night it'd be Doom, but that'd be hilarious. I would love that. Made me laugh. Holly's face is dropped. She's like, they better not do that.
I already bought it. It's too late.
They're like, you can only play it if you pay $10 more. It'd be so good. Damarco, how you feeling about the price rises?
I'm just peeved. I'm just annoyed because Sony. I'm not anyone who knows me knows I don't care about your console. I don't Xbox, PlayStation, PC. They're all the same to me. It doesn't matter. I want people to just be able to play games, right? So it puts Sony in a position where, and I don't expect them to do this, but all they need to do for like this upcoming console generation, they just need to hold the line and turn around and go, hey, no, look, our games are still all our first party games are still going to be $60 or $70, and our console's staying the same price, and we're not jacking that up anymore, and it's going to be significantly cheaper than whatever. It's crazy to me that Microsoft thought this was a smart move, especially when the thing that stings the most is they had, and I was just trying to look it up, but they had layoffs, less than 1% of the workforce in July 2022. 2023 there were 10,000. 2024 there were 1,900 layoffs. In September there was another 650. Right, like they've just had an insane amount of people cut from their company. They're reporting record profits that the company is making, just exponential growth that Microsoft is having. And yeah, of course part of it is going to be tariffs. I'm not saying that none of it is that effect, but I think this is an excuse. Agree with you, Riskit. It's an excuse for them to raise their prices, and it's an excuse for them when they come around and they say, "Oh, well, now the next gen console is going to only be $100 more than the current gen console," and people are going to go, "Oh, that's not that bad of a price increase. I think Microsoft is being really nice about it because technically with inflation and tariffs," and I hate that. I hate that nonsense so much.
You mean like Jeff Keighley did for the PlayStation with the inflation comparison, and then when PlayStation raised their prices, didn't say a goddamn thing, but then when Xbox raised their prices, literally within the hour, he had posted anyway.
All the above. All the above. Listen. Companies, these corporations, they don't care about you. They don't. And this is a direct example of that. And it's just the people who are standing up and defending when people turn around and say with their I was watching Angry Joe's video and they pull out their katanas, the meme, like, back off of my corporation. When people turn around and they start defending, like, oh, I would pay $100 for a game, like the value's there for me, it doesn't make sense. It's never made sense to me why any consumer would be like, yeah, I would happily pay more for this thing. Like, I get it, you're explaining that you see whatever product is very valuable, but you shouldn't encourage a company to charge. You shouldn't want to pay more for things. It's your money. You should want to be able to spend it in a lot of different places, not on a single new game a year, because now the prices, GTA decides, well, it's going to be $100 for GTA, and then Nintendo goes, $100? That sounds pretty good. And Sony goes, $100? What if we do 110? Right? We see this creep with everything. We see this creep. We saw it with loot boxes and then the battle passes, and a $5 skin is now a $25 skin for microtransactions. We see it every single time with anything these companies do. They do two steps forward. It was around the time when Destiny 2 came out, and just every single game seemed to release broken and terrible for some reason. I mean, there's a lot of live service stuff, but these companies would do two steps back, and then I'm sure you've all seen the posts, like, we're sorry, and it was just a cluster of every company saying we're sorry.
You mean like Cybertrash? I mean Cyberpunk? Sorry.
Like Cyberpunk, yes. But it's two steps forward and one step back. 2 steps forward and 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Until eventually, like, consumers just always lose. And I can't defend it. I can't defend it if Sony does it. I can't defend it if Microsoft, now that Microsoft's doing it. I was very excited to get a Nintendo Switch because I've never owned one before. So when they were talking about Switch 2, I was like, yes, let's go. They announced $80 games, and I said, never mind. Especially for $100 Joy-Cons, that's just egregious that they're going to get stick drift at some point. So I think this is arguably, like, it's interesting. You have phenomenal games like Expedition 33, $50. And then on the flip side of it, you have stuff like $80 for Mario Kart and $80 for Xbox games. That's going to be...
Absolutely. Kay Asante actually raised a good point at the beginning. I wanted to come back to it when he said, after playing Avowed, do you think it's worth $70 with Oblivion and Expedition 33 added in? He said he thinks it's worth it. But Everborn raised the question: And again, you sort of raised it in your what you were saying there is that the value for these guys who are like, I'll pay 100. Like the value, if the value is there for you particularly, then cool, like that's fine. But the going out publicly and supporting any kind of a price rise is just some of the dumbest shit I think I've ever seen.
Very weird.
And the other, I just don't get it. I don't get why.
You
And it's like,
why do you want
and I'm look.
more?
I blame
Like
again
I've
brothers. They were one of the main people championing on more expensive gaming.
for years, and then as soon as the Nintendo Direct, they're like, $80, and I'm like, guys, you literally are the reason this happened. It's like I didn't see anyone supporting the games. I'm like,
$80.
fuck these guys.
And
And
I
then,
know it's going
but I've seen a lot of.
Oh,
Yeah,
go
go.
ahead.
You're right.
I was gonna say I know
jump in.
I know we're gonna be talking about like Game Pass as well, but it brings into question the sustainability of that because obviously you're gonna get more subscribers, but there's going to be a lot more pressure on Game Pass and sort of what is the future of that because they're not raising the price of that, right? So there is a lot more value there. I've always said Game Pass is a great thing, but what happens when Xbox now has all the market they think they can capture cornered into Game Pass, and they go, okay, now we raise the price because nobody wants to spend $80 for a game, but now we raise Game Pass just a little bit more with the next gen console release or a little bit sooner than that, and then they go a little bit more because and it's a very slippery $80. This is not the end of it. It's not the end of it. Game Pass is a great deal for now, but I'd be wary of locking your entire gaming library on Game Pass as well, as great of a value as it is.
I think one of the reasons, and we'll get into GTA a little bit later if we get time, but I think one of the reasons that GTA delayed, one of the reasons, probably because they're not ready, but they also probably see the value, and it's like, well, we launch now, we charge 80. If we launch next year, we could charge 90 to 100. Because that we may have seen more creep, right? I want to get to Holly because we've said a lot. So Holly, how you feeling about the price right there? But I just want to preface this: is the PSVR 2 out of the box yet, though?
That thing is never going to get any playtime, unfortunately.
That's good to help myself. Good to help myself. Go.
You know, it's funny because the wrap is unboxed back there, but not the VR. I've noticed.
Well, you know, the funny thing, if you really want to get funny, Umbra, is that I invited you over and said, hey, all of these things, you could eat with us and Rand, you can meet Rand, you could play the PSVR 2, and you didn't. You slept through the whole damn thing. So
the VR is what turned me off. I gotta
it was the VR.
I'm joking.
As soon as you said PSVR, if you just said Metacrest 3, you would have been out the door like
right. That VR
Holly, what is it?
Yeah,
No ovated eye watching stuff. It's watching my eyes. It's creepy. Sorry, keep going.
what?
Well, it follows your eyes. Yeah.
Oh,
so you don't get.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, we're in a new era of Xbox, not Xbox era like that, but we are in a new era of Xbox, and it is very different than anything you've ever known before. The way I look at it is that they have garnered enough attention from the corporate umbrella of the WebDave, the stockholders and the Microsoft overlords, I guess you could call them, right? That, and we've seen this, right? We've talked about this for a year and a half now since ABK closed. And who we have now is Microsoft Gaming, right? It's not really Xbox in the boutique sense that we knew it. And what they want to be, what Microsoft has always been very good at, is being a software publisher. And I think everything that they are doing is heavily positioning themselves to be the prominent and most successful publisher in the gaming industry for the most part, right? Like Take-Two's huge, but like I think that's where they're really positioning themselves, which as a Game Pass subscriber could be fantastic as long as they still stay true to their, day one Game Pass, all of that stuff, right? Um, as a console investor and ecosystem investor, I think you're seeing the moves and like you guys have talked about, right? Like the whole industry is for the first time saying, you know what? We need more instead of we've recouped our money, things cost less to make, we'll lower the price. It's going the opposite way, right? And this is a unique scenario and it is across the industry. But I do think the fact that like Microsoft, I just don't get it. Like Xbox, every time they start to get some real momentum, right? Like they're like cooking with grease, right? Like everything is frying up, everything's popping out of the pan. And as soon as they start to get some actual momentum, they do something like this. And you're like, well, never mind. It's Xbox. Why would we think anything different, right? Like it just, they they take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, right? With everything that they do. And it's such a shame because I feel like they're their own worst enemy in a lot of times in a lot of scenarios. But I think what they're doing is they're shoring up their future to be a most excellent gaming house, gaming publisher, and consoles
I
are
love it.
much more secondary to them than they used to be. And the real conversation around these price hikes needs to I hear people blaming tariffs. I hear people blaming Nintendo. I hear people blaming Sony. And I think Sony did 2 price hikes before this. Not necessarily
They did,
US,
yeah.
but like yeah. And like but the problem is that everybody is using other companies' decisions as scapegoats for what Microsoft has chosen to do. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter about what Nintendo did. It doesn't matter what Sony did. And frankly, after the one of the highest quarter earnings calls that they just had, it doesn't matter what the tariffs have or have not done. And I don't think my other point to that is I don't think price hikes like this just come out of, a 2-week conversation. I think there's a lot of market analysis that goes into these things. So it's not a quick decision. It is a long, well thought out decision, right? And then you have to implement that. So there has to be a lot of rollout because it was starting like the day they announced it, right? I think it started yesterday. So this is not something that you just do right in 2 weeks. It is a very well thought out thing. Having said that, doesn't matter what the reason is. The reason is Microsoft, right? You can't tell me that they don't have enough
To absorb it.
capital for at least, even if it was tariffs, to at least absorb it for a temporary amount of time until we know where this whole thing is going to land. And then they make the decision, right? Like, okay, this isn't going away. What are we going to do? Are we going to raise everything? Or it seems like things have settled down. Our prices stayed the same. And look what all of our competitors did. They raised their prices. They did all of these other things. We don't have to be like them. We can be the more consumer friendly ecosystem. We can say we're not going to raise our game prices to $80, right? These are things that they could have done, but they're not doing. And that's
Yeah,
all
look,
Microsoft.
They had
agreed.
$5.6 billion in gaming revenue. It's a 43% year over year increase. They could have absorbed the costs and they could have done that for a while. That's revenue increase 43% up from where it was last year. So they could have eaten this cost. They chose not to, and they chose to do it right before a holiday season when everyone is going to be freaking out over tariffs because it's going to hit. Like I just had work done around, and people are like, "Yeah, sorry, like they were telling me they're like you got really lucky because they haven't charged for tariffs yet, but for all these jobs that are coming up, just for normal housework." they said I'm going to have to start charging more for this. So it's going to be hitting everybody. And Microsoft, when these companies are talking $5.6 billion, it puts it into perspective I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And
DeMarco,
it's
can I ask you, when did he give you any indication of when it might happen, when the hikes for materials would happen for you to do what they do for you?
no. They just said I mean, I know that he was telling me, he's like, I ordered this part. He goes, and it was pretty much overnight, right? It's in effect now, for some things. But he said, I ordered this part when I had got it initially, it was $45. Now it's $75. If I
Sheesh.
needed to
You know,
buy it again.
do you know
That
what's
was
really, and I'm going to get a little bit political here, so apologies, but you know what's been really funny to watch, right? Is and it happens with the PlayStation and Xbox and just narrative building. You know what I mean? I'm not sure it's a big cabal where the PlayStation guys get together and be like, all right, Xbox Game Pass is unsustainable, and that's the narrative. We're going to stick with that. Doesn't matter what happens. This is what we're going to do. I don't think that happens, right? And I don't think that happens with conservatives, Democrats, and left and right. No, I don't think that. I think it's just like someone's like, oh, that's a good point. I'm gonna run with that and expand on that, and that's how these things happen, right? But and I'm sorry that I'm getting a little bit political, okay? But what's been really funny to watch is the Democrat side of things, the left side of things, start to tell people that tariffs are a tax on the consumer, right? Which is true. 100% true. And then to watch the other side, the conservatives be like, it is not a tax on consumers, it's a percentage of the company will eat the cost. When for years, and I've said this for years, and everyone hates this fucking term, and it's a horrible term, for years I've been saying trickle-down economics is a thing. It absolutely is a thing. And if you charge a company more, if you tax them more, right, they will pass that on to the fucking consumer. But it used to be a conservative thing, is we're going to give the big guys a tax break. That'll pass it on down through to the consumer as a knock-on thing. And like, my belief is that does work. You guys can disagree. But you can't then believe that tariffs are a tax on the consumer and that the companies will pass that cost on down to you. Because if you believe that, then you can't believe in taxing the big guy, because you know that cost is going to get passed on down to the fucking consumer. I have been watching that on Twitter. Thank you, presidential election. For bringing all this political shit to my, but I've been watching that on Twitter and going, man, this is the same guys that used to say like tax them more, and now they're like tariffs is bad. Like, fuck me. You can pick one and understand what the knock-on effects are.
Listen,
anyway, I'm sorry for that.
As far as this whole trickle down nonsense, that stuff has never worked. If you're talking about trickle down or where they pass on stuff to us to pay more, absolutely that's a trickle down effect. But as far as actually benefiting us, there's been no real documented thing of that happening, such as Reaganomics. Just to be clear,
after the show, I'll definitely prove that it has. Anyway,
the issue, I think the bigger issue really is that the cat's out the bag. The prices aren't going back down. Like, they might drop a little, maybe the hardware, the console prices, but I mean the games. The only thing I've been seeing on Twitter is people sitting around saying like, oh, guess I'm only gonna play like. Guess I'm really just going to dive into my backlog, or guess I'm just going to wait for everything to go on sale and then, just basically play every game 2 years after it's come out at this point, because that is not those prices. They're not going to come down.
That's the saddest part.
It's released.
Right.
It's out there. Yeah.
That's the scariest part about it. And the thing is too, I mean, it's pretty clear that, whatever the case, I think this is a preparation for the tariffs. I don't know if they've hit them quite yet, but it's very clear their wording is, they're talking about market conditions. Same thing Nintendo said. They're prepping it for that, right? And also, too, the thing is that, where was I at with that? I lost my damn track of mind and thought. But I was going to say, like, even with the thought of it never coming back down, what their aim is, of course, I think we all agree, is to push people to Game Pass. I think that's pretty obvious. I just don't know how it plays out to be fair, they say this is an Xbox and that is an Xbox. So I guess they're trying to push people to whatever platform, be it PlayStation or, now the LG TVs and things like that. So I don't know. But I think Game Pass is definitely what they want to do, or what they want to push.
Did you say an LBG TV?
Yeah,
it's LB.
Yes, it's it's the queer TV for folks. Yes.
Sorry.
Is that why when you plug it in, it's got 2 prongs?
It'd be like, hated it as soon as I plug it in.
Oh, the ones in Australia got 3 prongs.
Oh no.
Oh shit. Adidas 20 with the $2 super chat. Salute to everyone and to my Chicago natives. Damarco, are you in Chicago? Are you left out of that as well?
No, I'm not in Chicago.
Yeah, we're both left out of that. Yeah, look,
Shout out
I
to
just the
Adidas,
political
by the
thing.
way.
I had to raise just because it's been something on my mind and it's sort of relating to this. But we can get into more of that whole economic thing later on, Umbra. It should be a fun back and forth for a while. But
listen,
the
I can tell you
thing
right
that
now, if I'm gonna be playing Expedition 33 and hope to get time into it, I cannot be doing 18-hour back and forths with you again.
but they're fun.
Yeah. Holly knows. Look, you saw that that eyebrow raise. She knows.
I'm like, only 18. I think it's more than that. I've
Right.
seen the evidence hiding in the corner, trying not to read all of these texts going back and forth.
Right.
The essays. We're running
we'll have to have this discussion
our
on
thesis.
Discord. That's what we'll do.
Oh yeah, that'll be quicker. Much quicker, much better. But the thing, there's a lot of people saying you already own an Xbox, and I hate these people having the fake outrage and the blah 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 blah. Is what I've seen a bit of that too, and I'm like, yeah, I already got 3 Xboxes. I got rid of one. So yeah, I don't need to buy another one. I wouldn't mind. I've got my Series S like literally sitting over here, and that's what I capture footage on. And I'll bring up some footage of Expedition 33, no spoilers, in a minute because we're going to jump onto that positive news. But this is reputational damage, and that's what concerns me. Like, it's further reputational damage to the company, a company that has built this generation on being consumer friendly. Like, that's been the thing, right? They've built that reputation on, we are the consumer friendly gaming company, and this is the most.
They'll bounce back though.
What I think that I think what they're doing is they're really pivoting. I think this is potentially. I think this is a bigger thing where they are to partially to Umbra's point. They are just like everybody else getting ready for the sticker shock of we're not subsidizing any more consoles anymore. So we're going to raise this to the price that it now costs us because the next generation is going to cost you. But as Xbox, we have gone in and we have made it so easy for you to be able to play on your TV and play on your Roku stick or wherever the heck, right? Like to literally just have so many other access points to say, well, now look at the console market. All of the consoles are $500 plus. All you have to do is buy this Fire Stick. Or if you just bought a TV in the last 2 years, guess what? It's already on your TV. You just need our $90 controller. And that's it. Right? So I think what's happening is that the consoles used to be an everyman thing, and now I think that they're starting to move those up to people who are more hardcore but not PC hardcore, right? And phase it out, make sure just like make people pay for it. But then everybody else is going to wind up having cloud access at some point. Like that's where the future is. Your kids, I'm not buying you a $700 console. I'll get you a new TV that's $400, right? So now you have a new TV and it has Game Pass on it, and here you go. Like, leave me alone, right?
The cloud is for peasants, basically, is what you're saying.
It seems like that's where the market's going.
I think you're right, actually.
I resent the fact that you put console gamers like beneath PC players in the hardcore space. I resent that, and I disagree.
Truth to facts.
I love that you're coming around to the PC. Yes, sprinkle her. Yes, don't just accept it, Holly. Don't reject it. Don't reject it. It's you right there. You're at the precipice. Riskit, you know it's high time that you make that jump too. You know,
It's not going to happen.
PC is calling for you. You should make the jump.
It doesn't love me.
It will love you for a long time.
PC welcomes everybody.
Indeed.
PC is here for you.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna get into that. Tell me y'all. Look at Gray. He's like, boo.
You break him a little bit every time you do it.
I know, right? He can't take
Never.
it.
I'm never going. I'm a
Never
Jedi
say
like my
never.
father before me.
You would be the chosen one. You'll be corrupted soon enough.
Never.
Don't worry. By
I'll never
next
come to the
gen,
dark side.
by next gen, by the end of next gen,
Next gen
Riskit
is
will
going to
moving
be a PC, and he
Mhm.
will.
It doesn't
decide.
count. It doesn't count. It does not count. It's still a console. It's in a box that I buy, and I don't have to do anything.
My PC
plug
is
it
a
in,
box
there's no
that I
drivers.
buy, and I could just plug it in if I got a pre-built.
There you go. Same here.
See?
No. Nope.
It's
Not happening.
And
And
it'll do your
honestly,
taxes.
My first computer was a pre-built. It was an HP Omen Obelisk, and that thing was phenomenal. And you just plugged it in; it worked right out the box. You had to do your Windows setup, which honestly is no different than when you
See?
first get an Xbox account.
No.
Doom.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then after that, like if
Oh,
it ever
nice.
had a problem, like I was like, oh man, it seems like this PC's running a little hot. Type into HP support, sent it over to them. They paid for the shipping. They sent it back a couple days later. It was like maybe 4-day turnaround time. Phenomenal. Excellent. And it was just like an Xbox, but bigger and stronger.
Like built
to last
in red
longer.
ring.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
that's what you want. You want a
That's
bit of
nice
red ring
feature.
in your PC. Let's move on to the positive. I think.
Corrupt right there for some reason. But yeah, I mean, listen. Technically, next gen is going to be a PC.
Nope, doesn't
I
count.
might as well. You just gotta
Technically, these
accept
are
it.
PCs.
True.
Just
They just have a very specific operating system on them.
Mhm.
Oh,
You're right there, Risk.
Hypervisor.
You're right there. You just gotta make that leap. Leap
I'll
of
never make
faith.
the leap. No,
I'm still salty that you won't play Cyberpunk. I just don't understand it.
he will.
because it's
You
trash.
will eventually, you think?
He will. I gotta play God of War, and he'll play that.
Ah, okay. There we go.
Yeah, you stream God
And
of
he's
War, and I'll
gotta-
stream. I'll
You have
stream
to complete it.
Cyber Trash. Oh yeah, I'll just run straight through it, do no side missions. So good. And just like I'll have a bucket next to me the entire time. So every time I boot it up, I'll be like, "Ugh." Oh god, oh god, I feel dirty because Riskit Project Red just absolutely bent over the entire gaming community, and everyone was like, it's fine, come back in, Cyberpunk, some updates, we love you. I'm still behind The Witcher though. We're gonna move on to the next topic. Oh, I wonder if they'll do the same thing with Witcher, man. Imagine that. Whew. Gonna be one of the next. Before we do, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. Almost every Friday, unless there's something going on, like I went to Bally. Yeah. Tell your mum, tell your grandma. We like grandmas here, especially if they got back. Let's move on to the next topic. Expedition 33. So this is the sort of the sticker topic, really, which is so Expedition 33 came out. As I said, I was in Bali, and I was just watching the sort of the discourse about it, and I was watching like very much like how it was doing, what people were saying. I've been following the studio, which I forget the name.
Sandfall.
Right? What's it called?
Sandfall Interactive.
Sandfall Interactive. And then I was super surprised to see in a couple of days that they'd sold 1 million copies. I think that was in 24 hours, right? They knocked out 1 million copies, which is absolutely fantastic. You got to remember this is a brand new IP from a brand new studio with a studio size of, I believe it's 30 developers. Would have been much cooler if they hired 3 more people, but there it is. So I just put this out as there's a wider overarching narrative that we've seen and heard for years, which is that Game Pass kills games. And it's not a specific narrative in which they go, Game Pass only kills games on Xbox or this, that, and the other. It's very specific about, it's just like Game Pass destroys games. You put a game in Game Pass, it kills it, right? Clearly not true. Now, if we're having the conversation, honest to God conversation about this, do I think it hurts the sales within Xbox itself? Yes, I think if you put a game in Game Pass, it hurts the sales itself. You got to remember, though, that there's 60 million, 50 million consoles out there and only 25 million subs. So, that's like half of those people are most guaranteed going to buy the game. The other thing is, what bothers me about this narrative is that people are very, very, very willing to believe what they want to believe based on their bias, right? So back in, I think it was 2023 when it came out, or it might have been late 2022, but I think it was 2023 during the court case. There was a 277-page document which had a short paragraph revealing that Microsoft had submitted an internal analysis to the government body that showed a redacted percentage decline in base game sales 12 months following the addition on Game Pass. And so if you put something in Game Pass and people don't have to buy it, yeah, I completely understand that there would be a decline in sales. It's not you can call it cannibalizing if that's what you want to do. However, if you guys remember and you track it back, right? Phil Spencer said in 2018, he said, when you put a game like Forza Horizon 4 on Game Pass, you instantly have more players of the game, which is actually leading to more sales of the game. Some people have questioned that, but when State of Decay 2 launched, you saw in the US NPDs that the game is selling really well the month it launched on Game Pass. And so on a short term, it's possible to boost sales. The other thing about this is you got to think Microsoft would have given them, that bag of money prior to the game launching. It would have helped them with development, and it might be why we have such a great final product or a contributing factor to that. Plus the marketing, obviously this is put front and center on one of the showcases. I can't remember which. This would have helped sales. So there is an argument to be made for both. And I guess where I got to, like, going back and forth with the community and just sort of looking, reading, and this is the thing that sort of bothers me about the decline in base game sales is you only get one single launch of a game. You don't get two bites at the cherry, right? So, and not every game is the same. So you can't launch a game on Game Pass and then redact that launch and then just relaunch it without Game Pass to figure out what the metrics are. It doesn't work like that. So there's no actual, and I don't care what people like, oh, you know better than Microsoft. Yeah, no, I don't know better than Microsoft, but I know stats, right? I understand stats. I look at them. I look at P&Ls and all that sort of shit all day. So I understand that stuff. And I understand when evidence is quantitative or qualitative, right? And what you need to get to a specific data point to say that this is exactly what it is. And you cannot, there's no way to get this data just because of the nature of the business. You can't get that data. If you launch a game on Game Pass, you don't know if it would have done better in sales, and you can't go back in time to figure that out. If you launch without Game Pass, you don't know if it would have done worse in sales, and you can't go back in time to figure that out. And one game does not compare to another. So you can't launch, you could maybe do it with a Forza, so you do Forza 5, and then we drop Forza 6 Horizon, and we don't put it in Game Pass, and we compare those sales. But again, different time, right? So 2 years later is not 2 years previous. You cannot possibly get that data. You can get qualitative data that directs you to a possibly you're losing sales, but you cannot get a solid data point where it says, yes, definitively, it is losing sales. Because, like I said, every game launch is different. You've got new IPs, you've got sequels, you've got series games, you've got live service games. There's lots of different types of games with lots of different types of audiences. And some games are just like Elden Ring. Some games are just in a class of their own, right? And so you're never going to know. And that was my point. And if anyone's arguing, and I do love that people get on there and go, you're stupid. It's like, no, mate, I'm not stupid. This is just actually critically thinking about the problem. And then looking at what data Microsoft could pull to make that distinction. And there is no data that you can pull to make the distinction. And that was sort of my point on Game Pass cannibalizes sales. We can all have an opinion, but at the end of the day, there's no fact. There's no there's no like, definitely it does, definitely it doesn't. Each situation is different. And I think in this case, in Expedition 33's case, I think it helped. It helped the game sales. So yeah, I'm going to kick it out to the panel. And I know it's something that we've talked about in the past, Umbra. And I know that because someone brought up something that I said previously, like way back, talking 2021 or 2022. Someone found where I said, yes, I can see where it might cannibalize sales. And yes, I can see where it might cannibalize sales. But I can also see where it helps games. Nuance is a thing.
Somebody tried to this you with that from 2021.
Oh yeah, they tried to gotcha.
Oh wow.
I love that this you too, because obviously things change when you get new information. That's just, new information came up. Your opinion's allowed to change, or your thoughts on it are allowed to change based on new evidence. But
true.
I hate when people try to this you. But I think the conversation, I'm gonna be a bit of a pessimist, a little bit of a grumpy one on this, but I will say I think it's a bit of a silly conversation to be like, oh well, Xbox is cannibalizing game sales. I think the entirety of the conversation is a bit silly to have, because ultimately it's up to the developers whether or not they want to put their games on there in the first place. And if it's a first party studio, then the conversation is a bit different, because then it's like, okay, well, Bethesda's, they just released Elder Scrolls 6. Like, should that be on Game Pass? Yes or no? But it's first party, so it makes sense to them, because that's what Microsoft's current business objective is. If you're a third party game like Expedition 33 and they decide, or Blueprints, right, was made this small little indie dev, and they're like, hey, we're going to throw it up on Game Pass. That's their decision. So they have to be aware that, to some extent, yes, there's a lot of people who are going to be like, oh, this game Blueprints on Game Pass, I'm hearing good things, I'll check it out, but I don't want to pay the money for it. And in some cases we know that it helps the developers, right? Because they get paid to, and it helps kind of fund their development a little bit. So for someone like Expedition 33 to know that they're going to be allowed to kind of get some funding in order to make that game as good as it has been, where it really is probably going to end up as game of the year at this point, based on what we know is coming out, and now with GTA 6's delay. Ultimately it's a bit irrelevant in my opinion. And the good thing is that the games are still making sales. If it's a quality game, it's still going to sell. And we saw that with Expedition 33 sales, right? So if the quality is there and you made a genuinely good product, then you are going to, yes, get it. You're going to lose some on Xbox and some on PC, but you're still going to reach a pretty massive audience. And that's part of the reason why we know Microsoft opened up to PlayStation as much as they have been, to recapture some of that loss. So for Microsoft, it's really a win-win, in my opinion. But ultimately, maybe I'm just not informed enough. I'm wise enough, I guess, to admit that I might not be informed enough on the controversy of why that's an issue in the first place. But I don't really see it as much of an issue.
Well, I think the controversy of it, I know it well, is that there's a belief, or there's a push to a belief that Game Pass is unsustainable, and that Xbox itself, by default, because of Game Pass being unsustainable, is unsustainable. The thing about that narrative, though, Game Pass is unsustainable, is that's been going on for nearly a decade. So at what point, how many years do we get to where we go, okay, you've sustained an entire decade, so we need to stop having this narrative? It's nuts to me if you have a couple of brain cells to rub together, to figure out that, well, Game Pass has been sustained. You can argue the point of how, but I don't think we can continue to have the same fucking conversations in the gaming community about things that are just demonstrably not true. Like Game Pass is not sustainable. It's demonstrably not true. It's been sustained. And there's an argument to be made that there's no exclusivity, and that's because of Game Pass. But it's not. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. They bought a huge company that's like 2-3 times the size of their own gaming division. So Yeah, there's a lot more to it than that, and I just think these ill nuanced, lacking nuanced conversations in the gaming community are extremely reductive. And it always makes me laugh when people launch out with "that's stupid." It's like, well, I mean, if that's the only thing you got to say, I'd say you're just projecting there, bud.
I mean, it's
Gonna
hard.
jump.
It's hard to compare, right? I mean, we saw what happened with media and streaming services, Disney Plus, Hulu, all those Netflix, all those things where they went through price increase after price increase after price increase. And obviously, video games are not the same as a TV show or a movie, but they follow the same principle where they need to retain that engagement. They need to have a constant flow of content in order to keep people to remain on the service. And those are all still around, right? They're still strong. They might lose some players over time, but they're still there. Nothing's sustainable forever. Xbox isn't, going to exist in the same way as we know it forever. Game Pass is not going to exist in the way we know it now forever. But at least for the time being, it's I don't know.
It's there and sustainable.
It's going. Yeah, it's going.
It's still being sustained. Umbra, jump to you. There's sort of a lot to unpack there. We have had these conversations, I think, way back. I guess we're launching forward, or we've moved forward, say, a couple of years since 2021, right? Probably 4 years now, and we're having the same conversation. At what point do we stop with this Game Pass is unsustainable shit? And how do you feel about the cannibalization now? I know you were in that conversation that was at this year. How you feeling about it now?
Oh, I was in that too, huh? See, I'm glad that whatever the case is, they don't seem to drag me into it with you. They just leave me alone, so that's good. But I mean, okay, I think I agree with you overall. Your nuance on it, it can affect it. I mean, we know that for sure. If you're talking about first party, it definitely affects it, right? That's not even a question. Very surely it does. I don't typically buy first party games anymore. I just play them right off Game Pass. It's a beautiful thing. And it's always funny when I hear people trying to like almost shame you. Like, support the devs. Don't use Game Pass. No, I'm going to use Game Pass. You don't pocket watch yourself and leave me the hell alone. I think, there's a case to be made in either direction, but as far as cannibalization of sales, sure. I mean, you can say it's affected or it affects something, but you can also go in the reverse and say it affects it positively too, right? And I think that Expedition 33 is a prime example of that, though it being a great game and reviewing super well and releasing on everything as well at the same time counterbalances it being on the Game Pass, right? And I think that's the trick. But so people might argue, well, that works for this game. What about all the others? Well, that's the beautiful thing. Microsoft now has all their games going everywhere. So even if the games are cannibalized on Xbox because of Game Pass, well, PlayStation they don't get that freedom. They don't get that what's the word I want to use here? They don't get the chance to
cost benefit.
That cost benefit. Thank you. So, our Hoove brothers are going to be paying full price, as we've seen, and they are absolutely buying these games for people in denial. We saw like the top 10 lists on PlayStation 5, and they were filled with Xbox games. That's going to continue because they have a shit ton of developers making games left and right now. They got a factory of games coming out, and the chances are they're likely all going to be pretty damn good. Right? They're not going to be like mid 70s and lower and all that. They're likely going to be in the 80s and 90s. We're seeing more evidence of them going in the right direction. And the Microsoft, at least Xbox, should I say, has finally seemed to have gotten it right where they give them the time they need and not over obsess, or at least they have the organization, should I say, behind them now properly, it would seem, to properly manage those studios too. So I think, yeah, there's an argument to be made either way, but we don't fully know the financials and situations behind the scenes except to say what we believe. And yeah, I mean, you can argue again that first party games on Xbox itself are affected because of Game Pass. I don't think you can have that argument weighed out overall when the games are still going to other platforms and selling well there too. That's the thing. So I think it's offset, if anything. And if we're seeing these constant rises in quarter results, should I say, is clearly working in their favor. And I mean, the rumor is the next quarter is going to be even more ridiculous than this one, even more profitable for Xbox and Microsoft. So I don't concern myself typically with companies and what their bottom line is. I look at what affects me as the gamer and the consumer. And if they were really in such a bad state as people want us to believe they are, then they wouldn't still be offering Game Pass, right? So there's something going right with it. Whether it's sustainable or not, or people want to keep arguing that nonsense. Hey, that's for them to imagine. I don't care. I only care about the bottom line. What do I get out of it? And yeah, I'm getting everything I need. I'm getting, I can play my games anywhere, be it on the go on my ROG Ally, which I, by the way, did play some Expedition 33 on the ROG the other day. Or yes, shower me with PC love. Be it that, yeah, I got the double treatment. Yeah, so be it that, or even the cloud instance of being able to, I'm looking at your gameplay. That's how you open that damn thing. I didn't know. Okay, I'm gonna go back and get that. Anyway, hold on. Okay, that's all three. Got it.
There's 3 of those on every one of them.
Okay, I just know. I'm like, oh, that's how you open that damn trunk thing.
They tell you how to do it in the tutorial.
I saw it, but I was like, I ignored it and was like, okay. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Yeah. Again, I think you summed it up well enough, Risk, you and Damarco. So I don't have much more to offer on it. I don't concentrate on that type of debate, really. I think it's just tiresome at this point. I'm just tired of having that debate about, and I imagine like, people in the audience are too. Like this, it's just we've been, like you said, we talked about it years ago, and it's been going on ever since. And it's like the same old thing over and over and over again. Of like, is it sustainable? I don't care. Is if they're still going with it and then we're still benefiting, that's all I care about. Until they stop that, then I'll be concerned and think about it after the fact. Right now, I'm good.
But what's the law? This is the thing with me is like at what point, how many years is it for this thing to be like, oh, it is sustainable because it's still going? Like, you know what I mean? And then timelines are different when you talk about sustainability. Like if you're talking about oil, is oil sustainable? Like over the course of a few hundred years, like right. From now, like you're sure, but like, and that's that you could consider to be unsustainable. But if you're talking about a company that's delivering a product, and they've been delivering it for nearly a decade, well, shit. I think that on that metric, on that time scale, like it's sustainable. I'm just like the conversation. It's reductive as fuck.
All this time, and it seems to be working for them, and we're seeing return of or ROI, should I say, as far as, like I said, what they're getting in quarter results is going up. They're setting records in that now, and I know they have, of course, their games on other platforms, but that's going to continue too. So it's not like they're just going to stop suddenly. That's going to continue even into next gen and beyond. So they're going to get their money, and if they weren't, they would have stopped this. No company is going to continuously give us these things like this if it's not working for them in some capacity.
People also probably, I don't know if this has been brought up, but people also, when they say sustainable, like it's not always clear in what they mean. Like I'm sure a lot of people say, oh, this isn't sustainable. And all they refer to is that the current price, but they don't realize what they're saying entirely, because they just assume that everybody else knows, and then other people are like, this isn't sustainable, like Game Pass as a whole is not going to make it. So I'm not sure how much of that goes on, but I'd assume more than people might think.
I think we'll definitely see price. I mean, you're going to see price rises. Look at Netflix. Yeah. Look at every streaming. The amount of streaming services now. Like, I'm against consolidation, but for fuck's sake, can someone just buy up a bunch and put them together, please? It's getting out of control. Now we got Max over here. We got Hulu over here. We got Binge over here. We got Stan over here. We got Netflix over here. We got Prime over here. We got fucking. And then they make something good. I gotta get it. It's bullshit.
Yeah, listen. That's why the 7 C's exist. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Anyway,
I'll ask you about what the 7 C's are after this. Blue, let's talk to you. I feel like we did cover it sort of fully, so I do apologize kicking it to you now that a lot's been said about it, but I don't know, what is the line?
It's good that I'm last because I feel like this is one of those absolutely silly Twitter debates among the console nerds. They just fight back and forth that I just don't like. I keep scrolling. I don't care. I'm like this is like you said, it's a decade long. Like this is just people who like to stir the pot and like it's not real gaming. It's just more like who's your favorite baseball team and why is mine better than yours? Like that's kind of at this point with that kind of stuff. I just feel like a lot of these particular types of arguments are just silly. I don't, like Umbra said, I don't care. I have Game Pass paid through almost the end of 2027. So I'm fine. Like as far as what sales happen, what I will say is that for me personally, and how I've used Game Pass now and for my purchases, is that it does let me play a lot of games that I'm not quite sure if I really wanted to pay the money for this game. Um, Especially a lot of indies. Like I feel like Game Pass is more important for indies than it is anybody else, right? Like Blueprints, for example, is a perfect one where it got really good praise, but it certainly is a particular kind of game that even people who would have been somewhat interested in it were like, well, I can't buy that because Assassin's Creed came out a week ago and South of
Oblivion's
Midnight came
coming
out,
out,
and
probably.
yeah, right. Yeah, all of this stuff, right? So I think it helps those types of games shine, and for me, like I played Avowed. I very much enjoyed Avowed. At this point, I feel no need to go buy Avowed. But Expedition 33, I am obsessed with this game. I love it. It is all the things I didn't know I wanted all wrapped up in one game. And I'm like 30 hours into it. I'm pretty far. And I fully intend to buy this game at some point because I like it so much and I want it to be in my library, right? I want it to be part of what I own. And so that's what Game Pass does for me, right? Even if it is like an Xbox game that I try it through Game Pass, I really enjoy it. Atom Fall is another one. I bought it because I really like that game. Right. So there are a lot of games that I'm like, I'm glad I played it, but I don't feel the need. Like if it wasn't in my library tomorrow, I wouldn't necessarily care. Right. But then there are other games where I'm like, look, I really, really love this. Like Expedition 33. And I'm just gonna own it, period, full stop. Right. Like I'll get it when it's on sale, but I will own it at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it.
I don't. That's about it. I don't normally, to be brutally honest, I don't normally buy games that are on Game Pass. This one I probably consider, just because I'm only a real short amount of time in, and I'm like, oh, I am gonna like the fuck out of this game. I like this game. It's got the nuance where if you're like hardcore RPG and you want to do the build thing, you know what I mean? And you want to stack all this stuff and do it, get into that. Like it has that. But then also it has the stuff for me, which I'm the type of game is like, I don't have fucking time to sit down and write out a journal of like what I'm going to stack with what and how it's all going to work and do the math, and have the huge build. Whereas for me, I'm like, that's a cool ability. That's a cool ability. And yeah, I like that. And yeah, I like that. And it's that kind of game where it's for your hardcores and for your casuals. And so far, the acting and the story beats, which I think is quite heavy through it, and I like this, has been really, really good. Especially when they landed on the, like I was kind of there when we're in the town. You're walking through the town. I'm like, and I went around and I watched Reforged Gaming's like first his playthrough a little bit on Twitter because that Astro Cyborg guy clipped it, right? And I was watching, I'm like, he did not even stop to talk to anyone. Like, he just ran straight to the end of the thing and, like, got started. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, bro, like
indicative of his personality. I don't want to talk to you peasants.
Spend the time, like, to get to know the game. So I talked to everyone, checked out every little nook and cranny, like, you know, did all the stuff, had all the the initial battles, and then had the conversation on the dock where the thing happens. And then I was like, oh, fuck, that's pretty crazy. I didn't feel like there was emotion afterwards, but I didn't feel like.
Wait till you get to
I know
Act
it's
1.
Tough.
Wait till you get to Act 1.
It's tough, like living in that world where if you are a certain age, you know, you die that year and then the next year is the next people. And like, I don't know, maybe they got used to it, but I didn't feel his emotion, like it wasn't full on enough for me to be like, oh, you know, like they mustn't have been that close, right? But maybe with the young girl he's got, I felt more emotion there. So that was a bit of a thing where I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, I think this game's going to be good. Like, have some okay acting. And then once I hit the beach, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Like some shit goes absolutely down. And the hero, I don't want to spoil it though for anyone. And so for anyone who hasn't played that first section when you lay on the beach, block your ears for 2 seconds. I'll give you a second. But that he freezes, like, and he doesn't do anything is so fucking human. And I'm like, all right, cool. This is written well. Like, he is the hero, but he also just like completely froze up in the situation, is like full having sticker shock. Like he's full like out of it, you know?
You don't
like
know nothing yet. You don't know nothing yet. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I'm just slightly into it. And as you can see, I've just gotten to the underwater world sort of thing. And I'm loving it. I think this fucking game is 110% game of the year. I don't think anyone can knock this off. I know we had that in 2023. We're like, oh, this is game of the year. Oh, no. This is game of the year. Oh, no. This is game of the year. No. I think this one has just got a solid game of the year.
What's
and
crazy
I'm going to
is,
love Jeff Keighley handing out
what's
Game
crazy
Pass
is when
game.
they first showcased this last year when we first saw it or whatever, I think everybody was like blown away. Like, oh man, this is going to be special. And it seems to be landing just that way. So I'm glad everybody is enjoying it. I will say that. I felt a little different in the opening part. I actually was, I wouldn't say I was emotional about it, but I definitely felt sad for the situation. I guess that's the nice way to not spoil it. Yeah. And I do agree, Mo. Split Fiction is still up there in the Game of the Year contender. I think this will probably take it, though. This will probably take it, should I say, as an indie kind of, you know, darling in a way. Or it has that space of it. It is, you know, well crafted combat that is, you know, kind of unique, somewhat unique, I guess. Well, Yakuza kind of does it too, to be fair. The like a dragon, but you know, I think it has the elements there to take it to the next level. Obviously, very stylized, beautiful visuals that brings you to a nice fantasy landscape of Lumiere. I like it. I mean, you know, we got the croutons all around with the ha and the wee wees, and I feel like this game could be something special.
By the way, I will say this: when they find Expedition, I think it was 68, like that. Well, you saw it was on screen like a little while ago, and he says that's Elodie's Expedition. My daughter's name is Elodie. I was like, that is fucking cool. That was like a cool little moment, and now I want to get her to play this. I'm like, that's you.
Look,
dead on the ground.
Your expedition failed. Right.
And I'm gonna win.
not gonna win. Temper, he said you cried. It is okay. No, Temper, I can't admit to that. No, I thought it was sad though. I mean, and I'm looking forward to more of. And I'm hearing like Holly is alluding to how impactful the end of Act 1 is. So I can't wait to. After this, I'm going to jump back on it. You know, I do have my
You better do
patented.
it before somebody spoils it for you.
I know, right? Yeah,
because
you're right. I'll get it on that.
It's a big moment. So
It's big. Okay, I'm gonna make sure to get through it then. But yeah, you know, I gotta say I'm impressed. I would have loved to have had this game be the one that kind of turned me toward the turn based, style of gaming. But I had that awakening some time back. So this is just icing on a cake for me. And the way I will say that the way that they do utilize the combat where you can dodge and parry adds a nice wrinkle to things because it gives it a more of a Dark Souls-esque feeling when you parry properly, because it can be pretty challenging. And jump too. That's true. Jumping in our trigger. That's right. So it does offer that. I feel though that it could also be its crutch, because it kind of takes you out of the chance to properly, I would say, strategize, right, in traditional settings of RPGs, because you kind of can just, if you're really good at parrying or dodging, well, you're not going to get hit. You know what I mean? And so there is that too. So that's mean it's a learning curve where you have to learn these enemies, and you're coming across these guys to first begin with. You're not going to know what their attack patterns are, so it's a lot of learning that gets involved. But I like that, and I will say I like the characters that you come across as well.
Well, you can always up the difficulty though too if you're finding it too easy.
I'm not.
I heard. Somebody actually suggested I put it on the hardest difficulty.
Oh, wow. I'm not far enough into it, but I do appreciate too. I'm hoping that this continues throughout the game, but whenever you do meet kind of a new enemy type, they're not throwing you against like the new enemy type plus things that you haven't that you fought before, and you just have like these 3 or 4 enemies in front of you. It's just like, here's the new enemy type, and it gives you that opportunity, and then you start seeing them paired together with different combinations as you kind of go out further. And I'm very early in the game, very, very earlier than all of you guys, but it's that subtle thing that like a lot of people probably wouldn't actively pick up on, but would passively notice. And it's just good game design. It's just good game design.
Yeah, for sure. I also too, I'll throw this out there. I like that it has some platforming elements. That's pretty cool. I saw that one. You saw that one clip. You may have played it already, Ollie, where you got to climb that tall like things like 5 minutes long. You did it?
I did it. Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you? Was it like, did you fail a lot or?
There's one other mini game that's in the vein of that is so rage inducing. I left. I was like, I don't know. I'll come back later, maybe. There's an achievement if you do these 5 different things. That's one of them. The up. It's like that game only up, right? So here's my critique about the platforming. I like that there's platforming in it. I don't think their platforming mechanics for the characters are good enough to do the platforming games that they have. I just don't think that the platforming's real janky, right? Not in the worlds where the fighting is, but in the open world, when you go around, there'll be some mini games that you can do that involve platforming, which is what he's talking about. And that platforming, it ain't good. It's not good. So like when you miss, it's not because you didn't do it right. It's because just the platforming is janky. So you do, but it doesn't do what it's supposed to do a lot of times. And sometimes you just miss, but like it's a little too wonky to have so many things relying on preciseness. Does that make sense?
Precision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I saw like one thing on Twitter. I don't think it's really spoilery, but there was like a log thing that people were running across, and the logs are
Yeah, that's
spinning, and
another one.
There's it's like
Yeah,
a
that's
carnival
another one.
game that you're going through, and I was
Those are
looking
the
at that
mini
going,
games.
not only does that feel mega out of place for a game like this, just based on everything that I've seen of it, but it 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 does really take away from the pacing of everything when you have a game that does its story so well, and you do have the overworld exploration that can slow the game down a bit so that it's not always like
Yeah.
action, combat. Like, you already have that. You don't need to
Well,
necessarily
these are
inject
out in the
janky
open world.
platforming.
No, they are in the open world, and they are a nice like if the platforming was done well, they are
Mhm.
a nice little like break, and you get reward. You get their cosmetics, so at least like so the good news is if you try one and you don't like it, like I said, I think there's 4 or 5 of these different areas for this one line specifically. You don't have to do it if you don't care about the cosmetics. You get
Mhm. Mhm.
swimsuits for all the characters. This is not like
Oh
spoilery.
yeah.
It's just
I mean, what?
so you know, have what you will. They're swimsuits. If you want to like rage quit, a few times to get a swimsuit for your character, so be it. Um, but at least they're not tied to like there's a really cool weapon behind this horrible platforming adventure as long as you can
Right.
get through it, right? Yeah.
But their base outfits are so cool. Like, I got
Yeah,
the
they
baguette.
are.
I got the baguette, like the French thing with and I was like, no, no. And I got the alternate robes, like the alternate from the beginning of the game. That like you can get some cosmetics pretty early, and I was like, no, no.
No, I got those
Yeah.
too, and I'm pretty much stuck with the I got the second hairstyle, and I like that. But I just now can picture Umbra now that he knows that there's swimsuits behind those like rage
Yep.
games. I just picture Umbra for like hours, like trying to get these swimsuits.
Got to collect them all like Pokemon. The bad part is like I started thinking about the people fantasizing about this 16-year-old girl in this game. It's like, should they be giving her a bikini? I don't think they should.
Yeah, well, that's. Yeah, no, I
I think
agree.
she has
Yeah,
a
no,
si-
I
I
agree.
think she has a I think she has a one piece.
Oh, okay, that's better. Won't stop them.
Yeah,
though.
I think that's
gooning is
that's a
strong
problem.
out there.
And you wait for the mods on PC. I think that is a bit of a problem more with the JRPG side of things, where it goes a little bit too far to the other side. Like, I
Buddy
think,
Hawk, she's 16, not 18.
No, she's 16. Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby's like, she's 18.
He
She
artificially
told me
added-
she was 18.
Bobby, you're gonna have a old boy walking up to you. Have a seat right here.
They'd be like, Bobby
Open up.
Hawk.
Oh boy, he added 2 years onto her. He's like, nah, I'm gonna get my fantasy out there. You're not gonna stop me.
But look, overall, I am absolutely. I think this is going to be a game that I'm absolutely. I've dropped everything else, so I booted up Oblivion a little bit, played a little bit. Like, I need to boot it up again. And I've just recently started using my hard drive because there's so many games. Like, I've never really had to use it. I've just downloaded a game and finished it off, right? But now I'm having to use a hard drive to store games on, so I can transfer games on and off. And so I transferred Oblivion onto the X when I got home. Haven't booted it up yet, but I need to check out the visuals. But I think this is it. I'm on this until this game is done. And had I known how good this game was, and I'm not kidding, I would have taken leave and had a holiday, just literally sat for a week and played this fucking game, because this is absolutely special and it's so good. And I know that this is not an Xbox exclusive, and people are out there going, "Oh, you guys are acting like it." But it's on Game Pass, and it's something that was supported by Xbox, and it gives me a little bit of hope, because sometimes there's been times, let's be honest, in Xbox's history where you look at the games that they've backed, or the games or that they've managed and put out, Redfall, Crossfire X, that you're like, what the fuck? Like, how did you think that this game was going to hit in any way? And it gives me a lot of confidence to see Xbox backing a game like this, knowing that this is something special. You know, Vampire Survivors being another one that I won't play because I feel like that would be a crack addiction I don't need. You know, so like I'm there's and again, then they got to go and step on a fucking rake, right? You know, with the price rises. But again, I was like, man, Xbox is really starting to hit its stride, right? You know, the worst kept secret Oblivion. Everybody wanted that. I'm sure that they'll do other Elder Scrolls, and
Fallout
you know, I
yeah.
just
I hope they do.
and the Fallouts. I'm sure the Fallouts are in you know, and this gives me a lot of hope for just their eye for quality, you know. And then from what we hear from Jez Cord, and shout out to Jez about Fable, you know, just having that eye for detail where like, yes, this is it. You know, this is the thing. So for me, it gives me a lot of hope for the platform itself, that they are sort of hitting their stride after all these years. You know, they've had a few like rifts and valleys, but now it's good to see some peaks. They've had some peaks in the past, but they've been short lived. Redfall is not great after patches. Magnum talking shit.
I saw the chat that people posted it. I'm like, why are you posting this in here about Redfall? I was like, I'm not playing it. That game had its chance.
You can patch that game out of existence. Here's a little bit of that platforming. And you can see me realize that this is platforming because I'm like, I went to walk off and then I'm like, hang on a minute. Hang on a damn minute. That was a climbing thing. Hold on, let me get back up there.
Look at the jumps you did. That would have been your death if it was higher.
Yep. Look at the.
I gotta agree with Holly on the platforming part. I wish they would have put more time into it because it's very clearly not that polished.
No, and I don't like you know, there's no sort of the climbing is like button to button to button. I would have liked a little bit more, you know, like South of Midnight was like it was all very basic mechanically, you know, but it had all the basics of like with the platforming. The platforming was just, I would say, rudimentary. This is even more rudimentary, where it's like it's button to button to button, and then you're up the top, or you press the thing, you're up a rope. You know, there's not really you doing, and I would have liked a little bit more of you doing. But my God, the other thing I think about with this studio is like, what's next for these guys? Do you know what I mean? And how long is that going to take with 33 developers? I hope they get some more guys on. Well, DLC, yeah, hopefully.
Strong likelihood. Yeah.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. We still got the rest of the year to go as well when you look at Xbox as a whole. You know, you've got Doom on the horizon. You know, then we've got honestly, they could not release another game, not even after Doom. They could not release another game this year, and I'm good for the rest of the year. All that's going to happen is my backlog's going to fill up. It's going to be ridiculous. We definitely, unless you guys want to add a little bit more about Expedition 33, I'm just super, super, super happy with the final game. I would like to. There's a lot of shimmering in the graphical thing. I will say about the graphics, like it's nice watercolory sort of thing, but it has that UE5 shimmer in the hair and in a lot of the foliage. So you know, I'd like to see UE5 come along a bit as an engine, you know, into the new generation. I hope they stick with UE5 and then really solidify UE5 before they move to 6 in the new generation. I hope their plan isn't to move to UE6 and then, you know, we have a whole bunch of other technical issues that pop up, because I feel like UE5 is starting to come into their own. Fuck you, Alex, you're wrong. You guys want to add anything else to the Expedition 33?
Is this studio only allowed to make turn-based RPGs now? Like, do you think if they tried to make something else that they're just people will look at it and go, "Oh, this is that Expedition 33 studio." This is different.
But they've got most of the mechanics down that you know, the walking around, the interacting with stuff, the animations sort of that way. There's a whole different thing of doing animations in real time, you know, if that makes sense. So
Well,
whether they nail it, it's a different thing.
I have a different perspective on that real fast. Like, as somebody who just absolutely wants zero things to do with Japanese games, right? Like I have zero.
This is French.
I have less than zero interest in Japanese games, right? As somebody from that perspective, I don't want these people to make anything else but this because I enjoyed this so much, right?
This is French.
So I know
It's
it's
not
the
Japanese,
Western
yeah.
version. It's so like, but you can even in the music, I feel like I see Japanese influence in the music, right?
Yeah, it's there.
But
Yeah.
it's and like
In everything.
you could
In everything.
yes, you could see it, but
It's
this is tailored for
Western
somebody
Final
like me,
Fantasy.
right?
Yeah, it's Western Final Fantasy,
Right.
which makes it
So
palatable for everybody else.
yeah, for the people who just don't. Yeah. So that's me. So I'm like, hey, I want more of these. This is great. Please do more of this. I'll be happy if they try something else too, just because clearly they're they have a high caliber, right? But it would be nice to have more of these.
Yeah, well, look, I'm pretty excited for whatever they do next. I just think they're going to need a bigger studio if they're going to take, if they're going to go into that sort of real-time combat.
It's scary.
There's a lot
though,
more work
because-
there, I think.
Right. But the bigger you get, the harder it is to keep control of things, and the more you lose your personality.
That's true. That can be
for
true,
you.
but I feel like you can maintain, a culture of excellence, in a company, and it's always easier to do that on a smaller scale, no doubt. But I feel like you can do that at a wider, at a bigger clip, bigger than 30 developers. You know what I mean? If they push to say 100 developers, I feel like that's still a manageable sort of studio size to be chasing that excellence. But yeah, take your point, 110%. It's a risk, right? You bring in more people, that sort of dilutes your culture. You know what I mean? It can either add to your culture, or it can steer your culture in another way. So yeah, I take. It's always a risk bringing in other people, but I feel like if you already have a strong culture of excellence, developers that they bring in will obviously have a lot of respect for the studio, and so I feel like they've got a better chance of maintaining that excellence into another game. And I would look, if they do another turn-based is really not my thing. Same as you, Holly. I'm almost allergic to JRPGs.
I like turn-based. I just don't like JRPGs.
Yeah, I don't. But most turn-based like this is JRPG, and I
Right.
like XCOM turn-based sort of stuff. Top-down
right.
turn-based sort of, yeah, that stuff cool. But this for me is usually not it. But this is just, I don't know. There's something about this that they just seem to have nailed it, and especially the story's engaging. You start out from a premise of, you know what I mean, like people are dying, just because basically they've turned a specific age, and you're losing people, and it's, I don't know, it's a pretty harrowing world to be to be living in.
Get to Act 1.
Yeah, I can't wait. Look, we got to move on to the next topic. Before we do that, I'll shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys are absolutely amazing. We've had 104 people come through and support us across both Twitter and YouTube. So shout out to all you guys and all you regulars that come through and watch us every week. Couldn't do this without you guys. So I really appreciate every single one of you guys in the chat. And I do try to put you guys up on screen so that people know that you're here and you are chatting. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday we can. And before we move on to the next topic, I just wanted to do a quick PDA for a game that is one of my top games of all time and that I really, really enjoyed, and still haven't gotten to the DLC, which is in my backlog. Earlier in the year, we saw Ubisoft shut down the studio that developed Prince of Persia. Holly's like that. That developed Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Absolutely fantastic game. If you gave it some time, you would love it too. I highly recommend this game to everyone. Shout out to Randall Thor, who also loves this game. And they made an announcement. It's well over 2 million players by now. You've revived the legend. The prince is back, and believe us, he's just warming up. So for me, I was like, holy shit. Obviously, this is some sort of a nod to say we've got more coming on the way. So super exciting for me personally. And if you have not played Prince of Persia, you can pick it up super cheap now. I say go out there and get it, stick it in your backlog and get to it when you can, because it's a fantastic game and a great example of a Metroidvania. I don't think it quite hits the Ori heights, but it definitely gets very, very close. Moving on to our...
First, I would say this. Very happy to see it make that much, but I think it deserves more. I think it's one of the best Metroidvanias ever made. I don't know if I would put it quite to Ori level of artistry or whatever, but it's definitely not far from it. It's really damn good.
Yeah, it's creme de la creme, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's a tippy top. It's a close second to Ori, and like you said, same thing, man. I don't think it quite hits Ori, but Ori is like, you know, the pinnacle of like Metroidvania, the absolute pinnacle of side-scrolling Metroidvania, and this comes a very close second, especially with the abilities that you unlock. And it really just, these side scrollers really revolve around their mechanics and how well you do them. And the executable mechanics in Prince of Persia are just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Disappointing to see that studio filtered out into other studios. And I hope that they bring them back, reform, and make something fucking to a T. The other thing that this could mean is they could be bringing back the old style of Prince of Persia, the original that we've been waiting to see. Yeah, absolutely fantastic game. And if they bring back, if it goes in any way close to bringing back that old Prince of Persia Sands of Time, I'm all for it. Biff Rinaldi with $2 super chat says Expedition 33 is my next game after 1000 on Shadows. Bro, that is a huge undertaking. I have to say, fuck that. I would not go for the 1000 on Shadows, because that's just game's too big, man. Way too big. And I hear that all the time. Moving on to the next topic, just a quick little one that I wanted to drop. It's going to be obviously huge, and I want to sort of talk about what it means, because we do have a lot of stuff coming out next year, and GTA made an announcement yesterday. And I saw you, Umbra, in the Discord saying, "Is this real?" And I had the same thought, so I went out immediately, started looking, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is real," because GTA Grand Theft Auto has now been pushed back to May 26th. Of 2026, the 26th, Holly, of May in 2026, the real way that you say it, with the day, the month, and the year in that order. That's how it should be. It's 100% how it should be. And biscuits are sweet little num things, and cookies are just no, they're not cookies. Biscuits. These not. Well, you talk about dumplings. You can't be calling a dumpling a biscuit. It's a weird thing. Thousands of millions of people in Asia disagree. Well, what's the difference, man? You dumping it in gravy, so it's like a dumpling.
Dumplings are made differently. They have a different texture. They have a different.
Next time I come over, I've already tried the Kool-Aid, so I have drunk the Kool-Aid, people. But next time I come over, I will be trying these biscuits. So what does this mean? There's a lot that, and when I've only got a day to digest things, I'm so busy. Honestly, I need a couple of days to digest things and sort of think about what this means for the industry. But one of the first things that did sort of come to me was, I sort of feel like that, again, as I said before, they'll probably push this game to at least $90, if not $100. I think this may be the first $100 game that we see in generation coming. The other thing that it means, as well as the rumor, there's two rumors for Xbox launching a new console in 2026 or launching a console in 2028. I'm hoping for 2026, and because I'm hoping so much for 2026, it's probably skewing my rational brain about thinking about what's possible and when a console could launch. If it means that we get a better console in 2028, I'm all for it. 2028, great. But I think 2026 is the year to launch. Then you're up against, you end up with the most powerful console, until PlayStation gets the shit together to release the PlayStation 6. And they just dropped the Pro. So if they drop it soon after, they're cannibalizing their sales. The other thing is there's a lot launching next year. There's a lot to think about. You've got Clockwork Revolution that I believe will launch in 2026. You've got Fable launching in 2026. You got Judas, which was also delayed.
That's this year.
No, Judas was delayed to 2026.
No.
It's just recently announced.
No.
Did you miss that announcement?
No.
Yeah, it's delayed to 2026. 110%.
Fall. It
I think
was delayed out of the spring to the fall of this year.
I think Holly's having was it denial first? What side? What point of grief is it? Second? You're in the second. Here we go. Yep, 2026. Sorry, Holly. Look at that. She's like, bullshit.
No.
No, it isn't. It isn't fully delayed to 2026, but I think it will be in 2026.
Oh, well, you're wrong. So if it's just you, then you're wrong. It's fine.
But there's a lot coming out in 2026, so now we're shifting around. So I'm hoping for Fable to be early. I don't think they dropped a season for that, did they? I'm hoping that's early 2026, so that's out the way. But yeah,
Perfect Dark.
to me, I mean, you've only Perfect Dark as well. You've only had 10 years to develop this game. What's another year?
Beyond Good and Evil.
And I'm not surprised.
Skull and Bones 2.
At this point, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is vaporware. 110% vaporware. I don't think we'll ever see that game. It's never happening. So yeah, how do you guys feel about the GTA? For me, I saw someone saying I don't give a shit because I don't play GTA. I can't remember who said that, but I was Garuda. Garuda said that, and I'm like, surprised, man. Like, I don't get into the online stuff. I play a little bit of the online, and it's never ready at launch. It's never been ready at any of the launches. Like, you know, Red Dead wasn't ready at launch, and GTA 5 wasn't ready at launch, but it came back, ended up being great online. I jumped back in, but it's not why I play it. I play it because they tell an engaging story in a modern setting, and they don't hold back. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering what a GTA 6 looks like in this, you know, in this environment, this political environment, because usually they're taking shots at everyone throughout the entire game, and I fucking love that. Trevor was amazing, just as crazy as fuck as that dude was. Love that. I'm interested to see where we sort of end up with this one. And I do like that you can commit like that scene from Pulp Fiction. Everyone get on the fucking floor now. Committing a robbery like that. Anyone moves, and I'll execute it every motherfucking last one of you. I love that shit. So if you can pull robberies like that, I'm all for it. I'll just be doing that all day. I'll just be robbing everything. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not overly disappointed, and it's not hugely unexpected for me, really. Damarco, how you feeling about GTA 6 being delayed to May 26th, 26th of May, 2026?
Who's surprised? I'm not. You know, I think like maybe all of 7 people are shocked by this news. And all 7 of them are just the same people on different Twitter accounts. The only thing I think that would bother me is, of course, and I'm still not expecting it, but I would like to see Grand Theft Auto release on PC and console on the same day. That would be pretty fun. But I doubt it. So, not surprised. I'm glad it gives me time to get through Gate. Like, I want to play through Oblivion. Even it's one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game ever made. And I would want to keep going through a remastered. I want to check out Kingdom Come Deliverance because I want to try Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Expedition 33. Like, I have more than enough. Grand Theft Auto was never necessarily a day one buy for me. I've never understood why Grand Theft Auto has the amount of notoriety that it does. They're good games, but I've never found them to be like, when people start saying that this is going to be the first $100 game and that it's going to make $6 trillion gazillion dollars before it's even announced and like all this nonsense, just crazy things. It always catches me off guard just a little bit because I go, is it really that love?
It just has a bit of everything, man. Like, it is like that Michael Bay Italian Job, you know, maybe a little bit of Bond in there.
Yeah.
You know, some Godfather. Like, it just has all of that in it. It's like the American story. I know I'm not American. It's like the American sort of like story. You know, even Black Mass sort of Like it has that just that feel, and it also has a little bit of everything with the gameplay and then the tunes, man. You know what I mean? Like I think it was Grand Theft Auto, I can't remember, the 80s one set in the 80s. I mean, there's nothing like driving around to "Who's Gonna Drive You Home?" You know? And then I think it was number 3 with the set in LA, and it was like it had that full sort of Boys in the Hood sort of feel to it, Menace to Society sort of thing. That was in there as well, you know, but then also mixed with the you know, the mob sort of side of it, you know. It's just, and then the crazy like hillbilly side, like
it hits a lot of really good notes, and it does it well, right? Obviously, its writing is the writing in all, in whether it's just from Rockstar in general, whether it's Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto, is phenomenal. So I get it, like I understand, but it still does shock me that game is, as every once in a while, like I gotta go. Right, it is that influential, and of course, I've seen like a mini documentary on why Grand Theft Auto is as influential as it is, just as a game. And I think, if I remember correctly, they were basically just saying how, I think it was a documentary where they were talking about how Grand Theft Auto, either when it was initially launched or maybe it was Grand Theft Auto 3 or something, but they, like, the studio said no to it that they originally pitched it to. Really interesting thing. I should try to find that, but yeah, good for them. Delay. I just saw a thing a little while ago that internally the employees were like, "Yeah, this game isn't coming out in 2025." Like they all just knew. So you know that to me goes, all right. Is 2026 still too soon? Right? Is that still a bit too early? So we'll see when it gets there. But honestly, it's the type of thing that they could delay it 7 times, and you'll just go, all right, I'm still gonna buy it
when it gets here. When it gets here, it gets here. And
yeah,
and that's the other thing as well. You got to think about the year that you know, everyone's been sort of getting out of the way of that launch. It's going to open up space for Call of Duty, and you know, to open up space for the rest of this year to drop, if anyone is ready to start dropping, like Silk Song and you know, all these games that we've sort of been waiting for. So I mean, it changes the landscape. It's one of those games that changes the landscape, just like Call of Duty does with the back end of the year every year. Holly, how you feeling about GTA 6 being delayed?
I've never played any GTA game ever, so I don't care. It doesn't matter to
Have
me.
you ever played a GTA? You've never played 5?
No.
You've never played the story?
Never
oh my
played
god,
any
fucking
GTA. I haven't even
they are
opened
great.
it.
If you okay, so think of the Sopranos, right? Right? Mixed with Boys in the Hood. Mixed with, I don't know what, like some crazy fucking southern thing is, but like there's a little bit of the crazy south in there. But if you think of like Boys in the Hood mixed with the Sopranos, like, and they're like together, sort of working together to like do crimes. It honestly, the story is as good as any Apple series you've ever watched. Like you 100% should just play to the story. Like I would even say, don't like.
That's what I hear. I'm thinking about streaming the campaign before GTA 6. You know, so maybe I'll do like a GTA Tuesdays or something silly. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, but I've heard 5 is very good, like the story.
Very good.
So there's so many games all the time, right? And what excites me more about the delay, because I feel like I always felt like this is getting delayed, like this is like the first date is never the real date, right? I'm more excited to see now all of the game announcements for the late summer and through the fall, because nobody was giving actual dates except like Marathon and Borderlands. So now we'll really start seeing a bunch more dates drop, I think.
Well, I mean, Judas should have given a date, really, because you know, because they're in the same sort of, they're in the building, right? So I just feel like if you don't give a date, it's probably because it's going to get delayed. Umbra, how are you feeling about GTA 6 getting delayed? You have played it, right?
I played all of them, but yeah, well, not all of them, all the 3D ones. Yeah, I mean, I remember Holly saying she hadn't played. I forgot about that. But yeah, you absolutely should. Well, I can't tell you what you should do, but I think you are missing out on a big part of gaming history. I guess I'll say just to sum it up. There's a lot of great stories in them too. Part 3, great like entrance into
Oh
it.
yeah.
Part Vice City is my favorite in the series, and it's because of the
Yes,
music.
Vice City.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love the
So good. It
music.
has the
Yeah.
who's gonna drive you home, but then it also has like
Oh, you
Ice
know
Cube
about
and
that.
like
Who's gonna
it's got
drive
like
you home tonight? Yeah, it's a
two.
classic.
That's
It
even
also has
one of the
the
story
Sinister
mission
Fruit.
songs.
Yeah,
Oh,
got
so good.
automatic. Look at you. What is it? Look what you done to me. You know, I thought that was a dude singing that part for the longest time. That's the point of Sisters. When she's like, look what you done to me. I'm actually at your whim. I'm like, and I look it up. I'm like, oh, that's the point of Sisters. Oh, DeMarco, you were feeling that? I see you. You were feeling it.
Listen, anybody, if there's a song going on, I'll find a way to dance to it. I'll do my little.
There we go. I
my
need
little
that
shoulder
energy.
bop.
Yeah, Vice City has some excellent music. I mean, you know
Yeah.
what they did too, and Kay mentioned it in the chat. He said that all GTAs come from like popular movies of the day. Vice City plays into not only Miami Vice, but it also plays
Yes.
into Scarface. So it has both elements in it, and
Yes.
because of Scarface, it has some music like "Push It to the Limit." You remember that on Scarface?
Yep.
Limit.
Yep.
They got all of that in there, and so like all of it's just great. I'll just say that, and then of course you got part 4 and all that. I'll just say I think you would probably enjoy 4 and maybe 5, Holly. I think you would.
I think she'd like Vice, man. Vice City's like yeah, it is that Scarface Miami Vice sort of feel, man. It's so good. And the music, I played that for it must have been hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours. I played that game, just cruising around on a motorbike, hitting something, going flying for about 500 meters, bouncing across the road. Game's so good.
I always had the old Ferrari, in Vice, but yeah, I feel like I'm always on the side of the game being delayed if you're gonna, I've said this before many times, but if you're gonna delay the game to give us a better version of it, have at it. We're in no rush. We have plenty to play. I'm way behind on things I need to finish anyway. So it's not like I'm like, nah, man, get this to me. Like, no, take your time. And they're gonna turn in a crazy good product. All right. And it's allegedly, well, not allegedly, but the rumor could be that they're delaying it too, not only for polish, but also that the PC release may happen at the same time. I don't know if I believe that, but I would be all for it. I hope it does, but I doubt it. Knowing that their track record. So yeah, but no, I'm all for it, man. I think it also opens the door for a lot of the games. I guess we probably should have seen the writing on the wall when we saw Yote announced in the fall the way they dropped it. It's like, no way would you put that anywhere near Grand Theft Auto, right? So Sony must have
Yote
known.
was announced for when?
Yeah,
Was it announced?
the release date. Yeah, so October, I think it is for it. October.
I didn't
was it
even see
October or
anything
September?
about Yote. Like if they released a new trailer or so, I didn't see that. Like no one's
Yeah.
talking about PlayStation. Sorry, you keep going.
They gave a date in October, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I did see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You
No
were
one
playing
talked
on
about it because no one gives a shit.
Yeah, but they put the release date in the fall near that area, so I guess that should have kind of told us what it was. And yeah, so I'm all for it. Take your time, polish it, get the game in its best shape. Hopefully, the online is not too far away for those who love it, and it's going to be like this current gen only. So I'm interested in seeing how that plays into people moving forward and not staying stuck on PS4 and Xbox One. We'll see how it works out, but yeah. I'm all for it, man. It's
To me,
gonna have
that
my
signals,
time when it drops. So long as it's not $100, it'll have my attention.
I'd pay $150 for that quality. No, kidding. If anyone's watching.
Yeah.
To me, it signals like there's also I posted in that Discord as well because we were talking about his Call of Duty next gen only, and the rumor is from a reliable source that it is actually next gen only. So, and I see that with a lot of games coming out now, and that just sort of signals to me that we are close to the next generation. It shouldn't, if you look historically, it shouldn't signal that, but it sort of feel like, they're only leaving behind the last gen because they're moving to the next gen and keeping this gen, right? Because that seems to be what we're doing. PlayStation, I'm talking to you. There's some remasters to do. We got a whole lot of games that need to remaster from 4. We got to bring them to 6. It's going to be a great time. Going to play them again. Third time lucky. Fuck yeah.
Look at, by the way, just to know that the last Grand Theft Auto we got was what, 13 years ago?
Crazy.
Insane. That's insane.
And crazy the amount of money that are still making off that game. And that's the cheese that everyone's chasing, man.
Yeah,
and I think it's part of the reason why the industry's, like those games like GTA, Fortnite, Apex. I think it's part of the reason why we have such a volatile industry at the moment, because everyone just decided they were going to go chasing that cheese, man, instead of just going, you know what, I'm going to make a fucking good game like Expedition 33 that people are going to love, charge a reasonable price for it, man.
That takes work, Riskit, to make a good game.
And then I'm going to make another one. And then I'll make another one. And then I'll make another one. What happened to that shit? Like, how about you just pump out fucking great games? Bethesda. No, sorry. Todd. No, Todd's all right. I just released Oblivion, so I can't give him any shit. And Starfield was great. So, and I did not fast travel. And anyone who fast traveled in Starfield, you didn't play the game. It doesn't count. We have had an absolutely fantastic show. The guys in the chat, you've been absolutely amazing. Every single one of you. Appreciate you coming through. I think I even saw Fonzarelli in here. Good to see. Kay, always good to see you. Solitac, thank you for coming through. Grey Monad, a fantastic mod. You're an absolute legend. Fuzzy Tomato, Biff Rinaldi. There's so many of you guys. Tim, Nerds and Other Legends, all you guys. Shout out to Assassin, who I think was just sneak listening and posted one comment. Shout out to you, Assassin. Much love. Guys have all been absolutely fantastic. Big Mad Mo, obviously, with the hot takes, as he always does. Derek Williams, appreciate every single one of you guys in the chat. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate you coming through and supporting us every week. So thank you for that. Hit the like button, share us out. And remember, we do go live at 8 p.m. most Fridays. Damarco, thanks for coming through, man. Let the people know where you can be found, what you're up to, and all that good stuff.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to get to speak with all of you. And I need to look back and see if I've been on this. I think I have one time. It rings a bell, but I can't remember. But you can find me at Damarco Dude on YouTube and Twitter. We're trying to crawl our way to 5K subs over there, which is exciting. And we're creeping up, but if you're interested, I cover RPG focused content, emphasis on Bethesda stuff because, hey, they're my favorite publisher. They're my favorite studio. But if I'm trying to make sure that I do a little bit of other stuff. So Expedition 33, I haven't covered Expedition 33, but Exodus, probably a little bit of Doom, the Dark Ages as well, as that game is right around the corner, and some more. So if you're interested in all that stuff, we'd love to have you.
And Sunday
Absolutely.
night. Something about Sunday night.
Oh, yes. Sunday night. Thank you. Sunday night, you can find me joining Web Dave over on his podcast. So I will be joining the Gamers Council as well. And if you need a double dose of DeMarco, you'll be able to find me there this weekend.
I always give out a double dose, and then you need a dose to never mind. Penicillin. Blue, let the people know what you're up to, where you can be found, all that good stuff. What are we looking forward to in the stream?
Tomorrow I am going to be with Mr. Fonzarelli on GameStop Live at, I believe it's 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. Yes, 3 p.m. Pacific. So many time zones, so little time. I'm gonna be with him tomorrow, and then on the Renegade Realm on Tuesday night, and on Sunday are Oblivion days. So I am going to continue the epic adventures of Tutti Frutti on Sunday through Oblivion. So 7 p.m. Eastern. Chunk. 5 I got the time wrong. 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. No, shh, I can't
Get it
remember.
right.
7 p.m. Eastern,
I
and do
think.
your own damn math. That's it.
That is the way I feel. That's the way I feel. I'm just lucky that my time
Thank you, Fonz.
coincides directly opposite. So 12 hours. So if it's 7 p.m. Eastern over there, 7 a.m. Eastern over here.
But not all year. It doesn't work
but-
like that all year. It doesn't work like that
No.
all year. That's the problem.
And that's where I get confused. I don't. Saving daylight's the most ridiculous thing about it. You can't save daylight, man.
They said they're
If you
getting
love
rid
it,
of it like 4
let it
years
go.
ago, and they haven't done it yet. So
Daylight come
it's-
and me want go home. I'm sorry. I heard.
He's
I
that
heard it.
Dale.
All right, there you go. There you go.
Umbra. Let the people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, what's happening for you in the near future, all that good stuff.
Well, you guys can find me Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite on social media. You'll find me either way. I'm going to be playing some Expedition 33 and trying to get through Act 1. I want to see what all the hubbub is about. I'm hearing good things, so I do want to experience that. Tomorrow, I'm going to go see Thunderbolts. I've been hearing good things about that too, so I'm going to check that out with some friends and such. And that's really it as far as I guess. Yeah, that's probably it when it comes to that. I will say again, for those who are interested in going into the movies, maybe without just the Thunderbolts, but check out Sinners. I think you guys would like it. If you haven't checked it out, I have to keep repping it. I think it's a great, ridiculously great movie. Well acted, from everybody involved, beautiful music all around. You could probably make an argument that it's a musical in a way, really well done. Just really well done. And just historically accurate in a lot of ways too, as far as different things from the Irish to black folks back in the day. They just did a really damn good job. I'm just impressed. Even the technology on how they did the twins for Michael B. Jordan, just impressive.
yeah, honestly, they didn't even need the vampires in that movie. They didn't even
didn't.
need it. I was interested in all just the story of
Period
them trying
piece.
to set up that the thing that.
Is it Sinners? Is Sinners vampires? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
There are
they are
vampires in
involved at a point, but
Oh.
I mean, they've spoiled that so many times on the trailers. I wish they wouldn't have spoiled that, because I think it would have been more impactful. But that's not even the main point of it, right? Like, clearly the music was like the real biggest point of it, I think.
Yeah.
But the period piece, the way they set it up, I agree with you. They didn't even have to do that. It could have been his own thing.
It was fascinating just to watch that story of them getting all this together with the way the music was done throughout the film. Like, it was really, really cool. And then I was like, oh, there's vampires in it too. Like, all right. Like, I was interested in the other stuff more than the vampire stuff, but I liked the way that they had the way allegory was done throughout that movie.
And it's a ton of social commentary and such, and even how they use the main bad guy. He's not technically, well, he is a bad guy. He's an antagonist, but he's not really a bad guy, right? Like, it's got a lot of depth to every character in it. It's just really dope, man.
That's what's been missing a little bit. Sorry to cut you off, but that's what's been missing a little bit from good cinema is like really nuanced, motivation driven characters. You know what I mean? As opposed to just one dimensional. They're a bad guy. They're only bad because they did X, Y, and Z, and from their perspective, you can see how you could put yourself in those shoes and be like, I could that could be me. Like, you still see he's a bad guy, but you also understand the motivations, and I think that kind of really good writing's been missing from cinema. I'm glad to hear it's back.
I agree with you 100%, and this has that. Like, Ryan Coogler, he wrote this based off his family, different elements of movies from Dusk Till Dawn, other movies in the genre, and it just pays off. But he does put a lot of depth to his characters. They never just feel like you said, 2D versions of anything. They feel rounded out and fleshed out.
It would have been so easy to make Michael B. Jordan like the two twins. Smokes and Stack?
Yeah, Smoke and Stack. Yep.
It would have been so easy to just make one like serious and one basically a cartoon character. Probably would have been that would have been a sign of bad writing, right? Is to make one just like a parody of the other. But no, they both were they were obviously on this, they were very similar, but they were still unique enough from them, and it was very well thought out.
They were a yin and yang to each other in a way, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Fonz, you say you haven't seen a new movie since Tupac died, brother. That was what, 96?
He's joking.
My goodness. Well, they say my brother in Christ. But that said as well, Tuesdays 12 o'clock Eastern, Boom's Xbox Factor, and my show The Fix with Daniel J. McGee. And I saw you, Swill. Thank you, brother. I saw the comment on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. So come by and check us out and subscribe if you can. We're gonna have a good show next week.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely head down in the description, guys. We will have all the panel and the guests link in the description. I dropped Damarco's link in the chat previously. I will drop it again. Head over there, subscribe, check that out. Head over to Holly's and hit that subscribe button and check out that next stream of Blizzard. Head over to Umbra's and check out The Fix with Daniel J. McGee.
For a minute. Hey there, Mo.
Salutation.
Hey, Mo, get off that darn reef.
Yeah, but it's been a fantastic show. Again, you guys in the chat have been amazing. Appreciate every single one of you guys, and we will see you all next week. And shout out to you, Bobby. Yes, I will probably pull up a stream of Call of Duty. The only reason I streamed it last week is because I finally got the setup rocking, like properly rocking. So I'm probably going to stream a bit of Call of Duty because that's just fun to stream. I love it. But we'll see you all next week.
Later, guys.